Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machin Le'ira online Smicha. One of the kibudim that there is by a bris milah that's not that well known. And people think that the kibud of Sandik, Moyel, Kriyas Hashem, those are the mechubedike kibudim. But the one called kevater, somehow it's not known to be an honorable kibud. Yet we'll soon see, based on Ramah Yeridea Simarei Samachei, perhaps it's an extension to Sandekois. It's, for example, one of the reasons it's brought for the concept of a kevater is the woman, since it's not proper for a woman to be in the man's side of the shul and be there during the bris. And if you want a woman to be a kevater, she obviously can't be there in the men's side of the shul. So the woman's participation in the sandekois of the bris milah is when she gives the baby over. Now this is based on the Ramah, as I said, in Yeridea Simarei Samachei Siv Yud Aleph. There's actually a remez of Smichus in the Parsha, where the Torah says, "V'yoyim hashmini yimo b'sar alosai," that the mitzvah of bris milah should be on the 8th day, and it's right next to the Smichus to Zois Toiras Hayeledes. So somehow the Yeledes should be also involved, should also have participation in this mitzvah of the bris milah. Yet we find that when you dig deep to find out a little about it, you see that it's not such a cheap kibbud. It's actually a very honorable kibbud. And in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, even in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, when he lists the people who don't say Tachnun, or the people who the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, when he talks about a person who's mechuyev to get an aliyah, amongst the people who are supposed to get an aliyah because of their special thing that's going on in their life that day, he mentions a kevater. A kevater b'yom bris should try to get an aliyah. A kevater is a chashuv thing. Now, what is the name? What does the word kevater mean, and why do we do it? So there's actually a couple of pirushim. The Rebbe in Lekutei Sichos Chelik Chav Beis, Amud 56, brings from some paiskim that kevater is two words, kevater. That's an honor which starts by the door, because as we know, the baby gets passed over from the entrance of the door of his shul. So it's a kaved that's done by the door. Kaved tir. That's one of the reasons it's mentioned as a name for kevater. Others say that the Aruch HaShulchan, for example, brings that kevater is meloshin keteiras, because as we know that somebody who brings the baby to do a bris milah is like fulfilling the act of keteiras, keiter, kuf vav tes reish could be read kevater. In other places it's brought that the kevater also means shliach, because the person bringing the baby over is a shliach. Shliach is ki abba kevater. Kevater means like the father. So it's a play of words. The person bringing the baby and he's representing as being the shliach of the father is kevater, which is kevater. Now in German, the word kevater actually means sandik, or the person taking care of the bris milah. So we find that the kevater has a part not only of just a delivery man or something like that. The kevater is really part and parcel of the mitzvah of a milah. It's brought in Svarim that the kevater deserves to get many covered, because as we find, it's brought in the Paiskim that just like we know that many people pay money to be sandiks by a bris, get the kibbud of sandikais, many people would try to get the kibbud of kevater because it's an extension of sandikos. Now there is a common belief or a common tradition which is said that who should be the kevater. It's a special segula to give a kevater to a husband and wife who don't have children yet, and it will be a special segula for them to be blessed with children. Where is the mucker for that? Many people try to struggle to find the exact mucker. However, some attribute it to a medrash, where the medrash says that the people participating in the bris and the mitzvah of bris, the Eibusha says, if they're so involved in my mitzvah, I'll make sure they'll be able to do that themselves. So they have to be blessed with children. They to be able to fulfill the mitzvah. This is a school for it, for being involved in the mitzvah. There's a pshat from Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Why is it that we see that even though it's known that the segula for Sandakois is Ashirus, yet we don't see necessarily everybody who does Sandakois becomes rich. And he says everybody who does Sandakois gets a reward, but some replace the reward of a richness for nachas, for children. So the same over here, the person who is the kevater, as I mentioned before, being that's an extension for of the concept of the Sandakois, he deserves a special bracha. Some get the bracha with children, some get the bracha with nachas, some get the bracha with many other good things. So that's the background of the Sandakoi, of the kevater. And yet Reb Zalman Shimon Dvorkin said actually that in Russia the kevater was just as a bacher. A bacher brought it wasn't a husband, an older husband and wife. It was just a bacher would even do it. There is a issue if the husband and wife, the father and mother of the baby, could be the kevater, because as we know, the wife after she gives birth is tamei. For her to pass over the baby to the husband is a big shaila. So there's different loopholes that some poskim try to find a way how it could be done. Perhaps she holds the baby on two pillows and brings it to the entrance of the shul, and the husband just takes the upper pillow away from her and brings it to the front. That's one way. Maybe that wouldn't be a problem of passing. Another way is perhaps chai noise asatzmoi. Some use the klal, which really only applies in muktzah and Shabbos, that a living thing carries itself. You're not really carrying it, so people question it. But we don't find that the father and mother bring the baby to the bris milah. It's actually two other people, preferably a married couple, as it's customary now, and the wife gives the lady from the Weibishul passes over the baby to the men, to her husband, and the men's shul, and he brings it up. Now there is a custom that a pregnant woman should not be a kevater. And the Rebbe discusses it because what's the reason for that? Many people struggle with this. Where is this minig? And the Rebbe has a whole sikha, as mentioned before, in Chelik Chav Beis, discussing the issue of the kevater, why a lady who is pregnant should not be a kevater.